Welcome to A Double
and
Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll.
Welcome to episode 67 of A Double and Dice. And today, Jocelyn is back from her Gen Con experience. So we'll talk some Gen Con. We'll get some more dish from Jocelyn. We'll talk about worlds. We've got a lot of feedback. A very heavy dice bag.
So many
heavy,
things in the dice
to
bag.
the ground. I know.
I
So
think we bought all 20
that
dice
in
and then some.
There's a whole bunch of D20s in there. So yeah, we have a lot of info, I guess, in this episode today.
I mean, I think so. I think it'll be interesting. Yeah. We'll see. You'll have to let us know if you like it or not, but but yeah. So I am back. I have returned from the Gen Con, and I'd just like to say, Kim, good job on the intro. First try.
Sixth try, but okay.
I mean, you put that in the Discord, so it's not like it's like a secret.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so first off, I want to put a huge thank you out to you, Kim, because I collected all this like on the fly, last minute, talking to people with my fancy little podcast mic that connects to my iPhone, and you had to stitch it all together and get it out in time for Monday. So big thank you for doing that and for putting the beginning and the end of the episode together without me. And I know it's weird talking into a mic when no one is talking back to you.
And it's funny because I do that every Tuesday. I talk to nobody. But I guess people are chatting.
People out there. They're listening.
That's true.
They're in the chat.
Chatting. Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm on myself.
Whereas,
it does feel different.
Yeah. I found that when I recorded my two or three little personal pieces where I wasn't talking to people.
It's like your diary log.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like I was on Star Trek, Stardate 1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
You should have totally done something like that, right?
Maybe I'll do that in the future.
Roll diary number 1.
Yeah. So anyway, but it felt a little weird just talking to myself. I'm not the type of person that like takes voice notes or things like that. I write things, I type things, I text things, but I don't usually do like voice notey things, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, so it felt a little weird, but that was what I did. So here we are. Anyway, this makes no sense at all if you didn't listen to episode 66. So I would encourage you to go and listen to episode 66, which is our Gen Con special. And I mean, we talked about most of Gen Con on that episode, but I mean, I guess maybe I would just say, if you have never been to anything like that, if you've never been to a convention or you've never been to a board game convention, like I really, if you like games, I would really encourage you to go and give it a try. It doesn't have to be something as big as Gen Con. You could do like Origins if you're in the US, which is in Columbus, Ohio, which is a little bit smaller. Or maybe there's even small local conventions that do gaming and role-playing and whatever, role-play games and what have you. Like, they're all over the place. You just have to look for them. So I'd encourage you to go because everyone was super friendly. Everyone was there to have a good time. And the only thing I would say is it's super overwhelming if you don't know what you're getting into. And the only reason that it went like so smoothly, I think, for Rob and I was, there was a couple of reasons. So the first was we talked to people that had been before, so we got some context from them. And I spent a lot of time on the Fans of Gen Con Facebook group, and I joined the Gen Con Discord, where they have like people that have been going for years and years and years and giving advice and, open to questions and things like that. So that helped a lot. It helped this year too that it didn't sell out, so we could make the decision a little bit more last minute like we did. But in other years it sold out, so you kind of have to make your decision early.
I didn't even think those things could sell out.
Yeah, I mean, I think a sellout is like 75,000 people. And I think they said, and now I'm going to mess this up. I was going to say their press release said they had over X number of people, and X was less than I thought it would be. So here it is. Let's see, over 50,000 attendees, and I thought it was maybe. It didn't feel like 50,000 people, But did I talk about the scale of the event, Kim, when I was
A football
on the
stadium,
podcast?
right?
Well, yeah, Nick talked about it, the convention center being as long as a football stadium, but it's double or triple wide. But then also there's an actual football stadium that you go to, and you get to play games on the football field.
So is it like, near the football field, like near the football stadium?
Yeah, so downtown Indianapolis is really interesting. It's kind of centered around this convention center, which is quite large. It's got a couple of floors, and then you can walk down one of the hallways in the convention center, and it goes down, and I don't know if it goes like under the street or something. I think it does. And then when you come out the other side of this walkway, you're actually in Lucas Oil Stadium, which is the football stadium. And they have like meeting rooms there, and they have like in busy years, in years where they have a really big event, I guess, apparently even like the box seats and things like that up in the stands are gaming spaces, as well as all the conference rooms in the lower level. And then they put stuff over the grass on the field, and then you have all kinds of gaming happening on the actual field. Like, it's massive. So the sales floor, like the shopping, is relatively small compared to like what I'm used to when I go to Fan Expo in Canada. And the hours are shorter. They only run 10 to 6 for the shopping, but gaming runs 24 hours a day. Like, they have official events. Yeah, they have official events that go until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and they start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and the conference center is basically open all night long. And people are gaming in hallways and around this convention center. So we talked about the stadium, but it's also got all these hotels connected to it. And then there's hotels outside of that as well that are not connected to the actual convention center, but are in like a couple of block radius. So it's just all kinds of hotels, tons of tourism stuff. And those hotels are just full of gamers, and the hotel ballrooms are gaming, and people are gaming on the street, and people are gaming in restaurants. Like, people are playing games all the time.
Wow.
Like 24 hours a day. Like, if you wanted to find a game, you could just go on Facebook or go on Discord and say, I'm looking for a game right now. And like 40 people would be like, here, come here. We'll play a game with you. And if you see people playing a game, like, and you just stop and like watch them for a minute, they'll be like, within like 5 minutes, they'll be like, hey, do you want to play with us? Here, let's teach you this game. Wow. It's crazy. And the whole city is like super supportive of Gen Con, to the point where like the airport sets up gaming tables. They set up tables,
boatloads of money,
with tablecloths that say "Welcome Gen Con gamers," and people are sitting there playing their board games, coming into Indianapolis, when I guess they're waiting for their friends that are on different flights. When they're leaving Indianapolis, when we left on the Monday, they had open gaming tables in like the food court in the main part of the airport, which is open to the public like before you go through security. And then on the other side of security, they had more gaming tables.
It's probably like their biggest tourism, probably.
It's a pretty big, 75,000 people on a sold out year, and over 50,000 people this year. So I did a lot of research through those two places, the Discord and the Facebook group. We reached out to people that had been there before, and we didn't overbook ourselves. We focused on one-ish thing a day. Thursday we had 2 things because we did Wingspan as well as Dice Masters. But both of those are things that we're very familiar with, so that was different. And we did a little bit of shopping and chatted with some folks. And Friday we did a HeroClix and a Dice Masters, and then we did the fan appreciation event. And then Saturday was all HeroClix, and then Sunday we were supposed to do a role-playing game, an RPG for Dungeon Crawl Classics, but it got canceled because the game master couldn't make it, so we ended up doing more Dice Masters. But there was lots of things we could do. We did a demo of Marvel United X-Men.
Mm-hmm. And you enjoyed it?
That was super fun. Yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, we had a really good time. We could have done. You could just go like into the exhibit hall and stand in line and do demos all day.
I would do that. I just do demos and try to get promos. That's all my thing I would do.
Yeah, you could seriously do that. You could just hang out and do demos, and so it's a big scale event. Just don't overcommit yourself. Just, go in, have a couple of things planned, and then keep yourself loose so that you can do other things. I mean, I was exhausted every night. I was like, we got back to the Airbnb, and it was like, night. So.
Yeah.
So
Went up early the next day to go.
yeah, but I would encourage anyone who has any interest in gaming to try out something like that. So
Yeah,
that's my sales pitch. Thank you for coming to my Gen Con TED Talk. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun, and I don't really think there's much to add to the Gen Con that you haven't already heard. I guess maybe the only thing would be that you might not have heard, and if you're not in our Discord, well, that was in the Dice Station Zebra Discord, I think, where we were having these conversations. So if you're not in the Dice Station Zebra Discord, maybe we can drop a link to that in the show notes too, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's mine and Rob's Discord for our Dice Station Zebra channel. So for those of you that don't know, a very important Dice Masters person lives in Toronto. Right, Kim?
Right.
You may have heard of him. His name is Eric Lang. And he flew down to Gen Con on the same flight that Rob and I did. So we saw him at the airport. We went down on the Monday. We saw him at the airport, but he had his headphones on, and like we didn't want to bother the guy. Like, you know, he's on his own time. He's doing his own thing, right? So anyway, so then so we saw him at the airport, and then we saw him again like a bunch of times the first couple of days of the convention, and he was at the booth where they were demoing Marvel United. So we went to do a demo.
He was part of that, right?
He designed it, I guess.
Yeah.
It was one of the games he designed. So we did a demo of Marvel United X-Men, and as we were leaving, he had just come in to meet fans. So they said to us, like, hey, like, Eric Lang's here. He's one of the designers of the game, if you want to talk to him. And we were already in the booth, but they also had this line that was like going out of the booth for people to come in and talk to him, and we felt like we were like gonna like butt in, even though they told us we could. We felt, you know, we're, you know, nice Canadian people, and we're like, no, we can't butt into this line. Like, we'd have to go stand in the line, and we have other things to do as well. So we don't really have time, but, you know, we wanted to talk to him, but we also were like, well, he's here for Marvel United, so we feel weird talking to him about Dice Masters. We overthought this whole thing, okay? Anyway, so we ended up just leaving. We had to get to our next event anyway. That was on Thursday. We had Dice Masters coming up. We needed time to go, like, find a washroom and eat something before we started playing Dice Masters, so we did that. We saw him a couple of times throughout the convention, just like walking around or whatever. And then again at the airport on the way home on Monday. So he was on our flight again, which makes sense because there's basically one flight to Indianapolis from Toronto and one flight back. So we were on the same flight, and that flight got super delayed. But again, they was really busy at the airport, and he was hanging out with people, and we didn't want to bother him. But then on the way back, like once we got back to Toronto, we were waiting for luggage in the luggage area, and he was waiting there. So we did go over and talk to him. So we introduced ourselves, and we told him we liked Dice Masters and that we'd tried the Marvel United and that we'd seen him at the booth, but, you know, he was really busy. And he's like, no. He's like, when I go to those things, I wish they advertised it more. He's like, because that's what I'm there for. Like, I want to promote the game, and it's awesome that you guys tried it, and it's like great that you guys still play Dice Masters. And we're like, yeah, we play all the time. We've got this local group. We like, you can come out sometime if you're interested. I don't think Eric Lang's going to come play Dice Masters with us.
Celebrity.
So, and anyway, the luggage was coming out. We were both kind of like in a hurry. It was a long night and whatever. And I said, yeah, my friend Kim and I, we have a podcast about Dice Masters. It comes out every 2 weeks, and you know, we really love this game. And so yeah. So anyway, it was really nice talking to him. He was very friendly. He seemed very happy to chat with us, but again, I also didn't want to take up a ton of his time because, you know, at that point his convention's over, right? He's coming back to his real life. So, but it was pretty cool, and I was excited to meet him. So I got to shake his hand and tell him I liked his Dice Masters game, and you know, that was kind of the thing that you didn't hear yet about my Gen Con experience, was us accosting Eric Lang at the airport.
Did he seem like he remembered what Dice Masters was?
He did. Yeah, he knew what it was. Okay. I know he designs a lot of games.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so he was really nice. It was really nice to talk to him, and he was very friendly, and I would encourage you, if you are at a convention and you see him, you know, that he would like to hear from you. He said that he loves to talk to fans of the games, and that's what he says he does it for. So he said, you know, that's what I do it for. I do it for people to enjoy themselves, and I'm super glad that you're enjoying yourselves playing this game. So that was really cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So, should we jump into feedback about, I guess, Gen Con then? The Gen Con
Yeah.
episode? Episode
Our
66?
boatloads of dice in our dice bag.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm probably not going to read everything, but maybe we can just talk a little bit about the themes. So, one of the things we heard from a number of folks was that they loved the live updates and interviews.
Mm-hmm.
I heard, we heard that from Donnie, everyone's fave hero, Donnie on
The YouTube.
Yeah. He said that he loved the live updates and interviews. We heard it from, Jordo, who said, I just started the episode. Kid interviews are the best. And they totally are. Like, I wish I could have interviewed Alex and Logan like 4 times because I had such a good time chatting with them. They were, those are Andy May's kids and such good kids, such good Dice Masters players. And it was really great chatting with them. And Logan, I was chatting with Andy and he said Logan was super excited that he was on the podcast. And he got to talk to me about it. I'm like, that's great. I felt bad that I ran out of time to talk to Andy. Poor Andy didn't get to be on the episode. So yeah, and I let him know that we were getting great feedback on the kids interviews, and he said that's great. They were really excited. So that was cool. And I think that kid interviews are like the best. So it's great talking to kids, and I really enjoyed that. So that was one of the themes, was around the interviews and people enjoying that. So if you listen to the episode, that you heard that some of the double burst crew.
The double boost.
Welcome to Double Boost, a podcast about Dice Masters. No, some of the Double Burst crew were on the podcast. They were at Gen Con. So Zach, the Global Guru, Russ, the KO King, and of course KT Data himself were all at Gen Con for the first time, I think, all 3 of them as well. Zach and Russ got some Dice Masters in. KT had some conflicts, so he didn't, but I managed to snag the 3 of them to chat a little bit on the podcast. And that was pretty good. I got good feedback on that. In fact, KK Simons, who is another Canadian from the central part of Canada, went into KT Data's Discord and said some of the Double Burst crew talking Dice Masters on a DM podcast. All is right with the world again. So, but it was really great to talk to them. And if you didn't listen to the Ministry of Dice podcast that came out, this most recent one, episode, whatever it was, they were also on that one, spoiler alert. So Andy was collecting audio for Chris and Andy at the Ministry of Dice. And if you wanted to go check out that episode of the Ministry of Dice, which was episode 130, there was some really great conversations between Russ and Zach and Nick and Andy and Charlie. So they had a good chat there and a good conversation. So KT said that he listened to the podcast and that he found that he loved the person on the street approach because it was very much like short little interviews. So that was pretty cool. He said it was a great episode. So overall, great feedback on that as far as the themes go. Let's see. We also heard from a lot of people that said that they wish they could have gone to Gen Con. Some of them that had forgot that it was happening. Some of them that didn't, just didn't really, weren't able to get there this year for lots of reasons, right? It's we are in a pandemic world still. The virus continues to circulate and people continue to get sick, so you have to be careful, and everyone's going to take the precautions that work for them. But we heard from Petrus, and he said thanks for the insight. Wished he could have gone to Gen Con, but he's going to think about it next year. So I think it would have been great. Craig Hubner, friend of the podcast and past guest, also said thank you for the Gen Con summary and letting us hear how everything was for you so that we can make gaming great for everyone. And I think that ties into the next big piece of feedback I got, which was a lot of chatter about that one HeroClix guy.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, let's talk about that for a minute, Kim, because you and I chatted and we weren't sure we were going to put it in.
Yeah.
Because it was just
You
one.
had me listen and think about it. Yeah.
Because it was just one guy, right? We don't want one person to ruin everything, right? And we don't want that to be the focus of everything. But I also feel, and I think Kim, you agree, which is why we decided to put it in the podcast, is that if you don't call those things out in a neutral way, like I don't want to go out and point fingers and say this person named this thing from wherever. Like that's not me. I just want to talk about the theme of it, which is, those types of jokes, if it was a joke or if he was being serious, it doesn't matter. Don't assume that I'm not good at something or that I'm just there because somebody else is. Right. Just because I'm a girl. I really wish I'd beat that guy.
I probably would have slapped him by now.
It was so close. Like the game was
Depends
super
how much
close.
he got under my skin or what he was saying. Yeah.
I mean, I placed and won the prize, and he didn't place, so that does give me a little bit of,
Yeah, and he probably felt even more like.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So, but we got a fair amount of feedback about that. So, I did hear from some people that were in the WizKids area a little bit more than me, and there were other women playing HeroClix that I just didn't see, which I said might be the case, right? I wasn't there all the time. So there were at least 2 or 3 other women playing HeroClix. And there were also several women in the Learn to Play. So they had a whole table of Learn to Play HeroClix.
Okay.
Where they were teaching, and there was quite a few women, I guess, in that section that were learning. So that's great, right? So I'm glad that there were more people than what I had seen. So that was one thing there. But I think the other piece, and I don't know if this came across when we were chatting, but even if I was, let's just say I was just a wife. Not that you're just a wife, but whatever.
What did you say, accountant?
A wife or an accountant.
Yeah.
I still don't.
Okay.
An accountant or a wife. I still don't get it. But anyway, but even if I was, right? Why do I have to justify being there if I want to try this game? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone has to start somewhere. And, it's not like I'm going to sit down with you and say, oh, well, you must be just a husband. No, you're just a player. You're here to play with me. I'm going to play with you. Like, we're going to have a good time. It's a game.
Yeah. People play board games. Anybody can play a board game.
Yeah. So I think, that's the point, and it goes either way. Right? But, you and I aren't going to sit down as women who've had these types of experiences. And, like you've talked to me before about you're the only girl in your board gaming group, right?
Yeah.
But you're just playing games with friends.
Yeah.
Right?
And happen to be all guys. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
Whether you're a guy or a girl or you're non-binary or how you represent yourself. To me, that doesn't matter. The whole thing about it was just like that you assumed that I was there because of somebody else instead of you assumed that I was there because I wanted to play the game. But like I said, even if I was there because somebody else was coming and I decided to tag along, sure, let me tag along. Let me teach you how to play the game. Right? That's just anyway. So, but again, I want to highlight that was one person, one experience. I did get a lot of feedback on that, a lot of support from people that said, that type of attitude does need to go the way of the dinosaur. It is an old-fashioned attitude, and it shouldn't be that way. Some people said, I wanted to punch that guy for you. I know violence isn't the answer, but that wasn't cool or even remotely funny, right? But I mean, like I said, there were, I don't know if I said this or not, but there were also several other, everybody else I played was super awesome. Everyone else just sat down and played with me, right? Mm-hmm. And I got complimented on my skill. But also sometimes when you're not the person that they expect to play and you're complimented on your skill, there's like an unfinished or unsaid, but it's like hanging there in the air, like, you're a pretty good HeroClix player for a girl. Like, they don't say for a girl, but it's in their tone of voice. But I didn't hear that. right? I was like, I heard, you're a really good player. Or that was a really good strategy. Like, it was just, regular compliments about that you would give any player that you don't know when you sit down and play with them. And you're like, oh yeah, like that was really good. That was really smart strategy. Good job on that. So that was good. And I felt like that was most of it. And I don't think that came across in the episode. I think I really focused on the one guy because it was still kind of burning me a little bit.
Gosh, yeah.
But yeah, so I would say, I think the important part is if something like that happens, whether it happens to you or it happens to someone around you, it's important that it's called out, right? So I don't want anyone to stand up for me. I can stand up for myself, like I did with that guy when I looked him straight in the eye and said, I'm a HeroClix player. I don't need him. I don't need someone else to do that for me. But if someone else sees it, and someone who is maybe not ready to stand up for themselves in that particular way, call it out, support that person. Everyone has a place at the gaming table, regardless of how you identify in gender. Right?
And right, yeah.
That's where we're at. So I will step down off my soapbox now.
Jocelyn's diary number 5. You have to do that next time. Next time you have to be like, my roll diary, day 1.
Yep. So yeah, and we also had this is more of a Dice Station Zebra thing, but I'll share it anyway. We had a guy come over and introduce himself to myself and Rob, and said that he watches our videos on Dice Station Zebra YouTube, and he said that we had some of the best shot videos, HeroClix videos on the internet, which was a super great compliment. And all of that goes to Rob because he does all that work. He does all the camera angles and makes sure everything's in focus and does everything with the switching of the OBS and whatever. I just go and play HeroClix and he does the rest of it. So, or I play Dice Masters and he does the rest of it. He does all the rest of the work. So that's all on him, but really appreciated that. And that was super nice to hear from that guy. So there was some great folks there as well. And let's see, what else was there in the feedback here?
How many Jimmies you got?
So there were a lot of super rare Jimmies pulled.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of super rare Jimmies. There was a lot of other super rares that were kind of like, let's call them lower tier super rares, like Hawk Girl and things like that.
Okay, yeah.
Apparently there was either a Wonder Woman or a Mary Shazam pulled, but guess who pulled it? Jimmy pulled it. Jimmy O'Brien from WizKids pulled it. And there were a couple of other super rares pulled, but for the most part, yeah, it was like Supergirls and Jimmy Olsen's all over the place, and so many Jimmies, right? So you couldn't go through a draft without a Jimmy. The Bizarro was covered thoroughly, so we don't need to get into that. So
yes.
So yeah, so that's a lot of the feedback. We also got some feedback on the Gen Con fan appreciation event wrap up. So there's two things about that. There was a lot of excitement from some people about, some people hadn't seen the Secret Wars redesign. We got a lot more information about the Secret Wars in that presentation. We saw a whole bunch of new cards and new art and new treatments, and the first look at the Origins packs contents, including the different art treatment on those cards. So that was really exciting for some people. Other people perhaps had different expectations and found the whole thing underwhelming. They didn't, in their opinion, nothing new was revealed because they only talked about Secret Wars, which we already know is coming,
right?
And the redesign, which we already know is coming. So in some people's feedback that I saw, like on various places like Reddit or Discord or Facebook, there was like, it was underwhelming and it was kind of lame. And I'm like, well, yeah, I get it. But when Jimmy was on our podcast not that long ago, Kim, back in May or June it was, he said that there would be more at Memphis for Worlds than what we're going to see at Gen Con. He said there will be a fan appreciation event about Gen Con. There'll be some things shared, but they're saving the really juicy stuff for Memphis. So if you are one of those folks that's a little sad that you didn't hear much at Gen Con, Memphis will be the place to be. So, also, it looked like there was a full art basic action card in the Origin pack. I can tell you that when I chatted with Jimmy, I did not get this on. I don't think I got this on the interview, but we chatted about it. It is not a full art basic action card. It does have text on it. We just couldn't see it the way it was designed in the art materials.
The one with the Spider-Man swinging?
The Daily Bugle, yeah.
It's actually written on there?
There is text on there, but you can't see it because it's covered up from the card ahead of it in the picture.
Okay.
No, so there's 2 cards. So there's the one with the Spider-Man swinging, Kim, which is the full art. But then if you look at the Origin pack page, where it shows you the Spider-Gwen or the Gwen Stacy die and the Spider-Man die, there's also a Daily Bugle card there. And the art is very long. It's longer than the other basic actions that we've seen before, so it appears as though it might have been full art, which doesn't really make sense in a product marketed to new players. But Jimmy did confirm that there is text on that card. It just wasn't visible, probably because they're not ready to reveal how awesome the Daily Bugle action card is going to be.
So the Origin pack cards have black background, white text, right?
That's right.
That's the only major difference, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think the art is different than the main set art.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah, I could see how people got disappointed. I mean, they only saw Secret War stuff, but if they're saving all the stuff for Memphis, then
I mean, if you were WizKids, if you were, I would save it for Memphis too. I'd save it for my event, for the true fans, the people that are going to travel just to spend time playing HeroClix and Dice Masters. Not to this Gen Con thing, which also had a limit. There was only 100 people allowed into the event because of the size of the room. So, if you are heading down to Memphis, which we're going to talk about shortly, then there's not going to be any limit. Everyone will be able to get into that event. So I found the fan appreciation event very interesting. It was great to see what was coming for HeroClix as well as Dice Masters, in addition to all the board games and the miniatures and D&D Onslaught and Critical Role and all that stuff that they're doing that they talked about. So that was really cool.
Anything excite you about HeroClix?
Yeah, there's some cool sets coming. Avengers Forever and Spider-Man Beyond Amazing. And then also the next... Oh, so Kim, you'll probably be excited about this if I tell you. Because it's DC. So the next DC set has been announced. And it is a crossover or team up. It's called Batman Team Up. And they're teaming up with the Scooby-Doo gang.
Interesting. So
it's got like this whole Scooby Shaggy Scooby-Doo gang sub-theme. And then there's a secondary sub-theme all about like lanterns.
So Scooby-Doo gonna be dressed up in like a Batman outfit.
I have no idea. I don't think I've seen that yet. But there is some pretty cool looking pieces in there, and the other piece of that is there's Teen Titans Go.
Like the
characters.
Show. The show.
Yeah,
Teen
like
Titans
the show.
Go.
Yeah. So it's going to be a really interesting set.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the next
Scooby-Doo and Dice Masters.
You'll see Scooby-Doo and HeroClix. I don't know about Dice Masters, but maybe. So
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Yeah. There was also some feedback, and we chatted about this back when we first announced the redesign when we had Jimmy on the podcast. Someone had commented on Reddit that they're looking forward to the new set, but they're concerned about how it doesn't match the D&D aesthetic. And Jimmy did address that in that podcast that we had, whatever episode number that was. He said that they would, probably look at designing something that's more in line with that universe. So that if there's more D&D coming, he didn't commit to more D&D, as you might recall, Kim.
No, yeah.
So
I don't know. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. Never say never.
Never. Yeah, that's what Jimmy always says. Never say never. And we pulled a whole bunch of really great Hellfire Gala Dark Phoenix OP kit cards, including Rob and I both each got both Hellfire Galas in the 2 different arts, which was pretty cool.
Ivy, or was it Ivy or Britain?
There's a Captain Britain and there's a Jean Grey, and we each pulled both of them.
Okay.
So we each have them both now. And I have one for trade. So I have a Captain Britain. I have an extra. So anyway, my trade list will be updated soon. And
just 7 more games to go. 7, 6?
No, I think we're down to. We're down to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because we did game 3 tonight, Kim. As the night we're recording. So Rob and I were on Twitch. So I have 6 packs left to open, but I only have 5 games left to play. So, because we're doing one. Well, we might. I don't know if we tie it. Maybe we'll do that last pack as a tiebreaker. Over on twitch.tv/DicesStation Zebra. But anyway, I've been talking a lot, Kim. What
well, most of all this stuff goes to you, anyways.
Do you have any questions about Gen Con that I have not answered?
No. Maybe one day I'll make it out. I have a question
for you about Gen Con. Why weren't you there?
I know. I've always wanted to go to one of those board game conventions.
I mean, it was great. I would recommend it, but maybe it'd be easier to go to Origins, maybe. Because that's only in Ohio.
He could drive over to Ohio.
Yeah. I mean, you could drive to Indy, too. It's just like it's 10 hours.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
So.
And it happens in the summertime, which is actually great, because my son's off school and I have people to watch, So it's not like I have to worry about him being in school.
So you heard it here first. Kim's going to Gen Con next year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Kim and her husband are gonna come to Gen Con next year.
Yeah, he'll go play Wingspan with you. He likes that game.
There's so many games. Like, honestly.
I would visit like my top publishers, I guess.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's just it's until you've seen it, you can't really fathom it, the scale. Yeah. So. Okay, so I think that's pretty well all the feedback. I want to thank. Let's do it this way. I'll thank all the different people that chatted that we haven't already mentioned. So we already chatted about Donnie. We talked about Petrus. I guess I'm repeating people now. We talked about Matt. We heard from Rob. Rob complimented Kim on putting the episode together, flying solo and doing all the work. KK Simons, Jackalope Spam Nick, Judge Extraordinaire, Collector Rob. Let's see, who else? Craig Hubner, KT Data, Dr. J, also of the Double Burst podcast back in the day, KO King Russ, Ken of the Dead, also from that podcast, and the folks on Reddit, so Vladimir 3099, Hyperform 2, Robot Romeo, Bubba Gee, and Walter Skinner FBI are all some of the folks that had shared feedback, as well as Andy May, UK correspondent for the Ministry of Dice. So, so thanks to all those folks for writing in, for sharing their thoughts, and enjoying the episode.
I wonder if he had like a face, with Chris's face on it and Andy's face on it. That would be funny.
Yeah. Let's go back one episode before we move forward, and that's to episode 65. We did hear from everyone's fave hero Donnie on the YouTube for that episode. He said, "What a jam-packed episode. I appreciate you guys always posting good content." So that episode was about drafting. He says when it comes to drafting, he typically drafts to collect because he pre-orders everything.
Yeah. Like me.
Yeah. But he said he did do quite a few drafts from Tomb of Annihilation, and he drafted to win on a lot of those. And he says zombie dinos for the win, I think is what I was supposed to say.
That's what I said?
Yeah. I had some of my favorite games in drafts. And also when drafting, I tend to lean towards cheap stuff and going wider than big overcrush high cost stuff, which is a good point. And we chatted about a little bit about drafting in the Gen Con episode with Nick and some of the other players, because Superman Kryptonite Crisis is kind of a different set to draft. Stats matter more than win cons. Yeah. So there are some win cons in there, but when you're drafting and playing that set, being able to go wide and swing over your opponent is a good strategy. I am running out of words, Kim.
She's tired, folks.
Well,
she had quite of a week.
I'm just my I don't know, maybe I need water or something. My mouth feels dry after talking this much. So thanks, Donnie, as always, for commenting and sharing your thoughts with us. We really do appreciate it. So, Kim, what's coming up next in the world of Dice Masters?
What's coming up next? Well, we always have our weekly Dice Arena. Happens every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. If whether you're new, old, veteran, I'm not calling you old, come out and play. It's always a fun time. We mostly do themes, so unless we're practicing for some major event or something like that that's coming up. But yeah, we had a new player come out last week, which was nice. So hopefully he comes out again, which you mentioned his name, Vladimir. So yeah, so that was good. So you can check that out in the Discord if you go to the weekly Dice Arena channel. Yeah, the next major tournament coming up, which is kind of a prep for Worlds. So the DM United, I was going to call them the Dice Fight XL people.
Well, they are that.
The DM United guys are putting on a Dice Fight extra large, I guess, XL 2022, which is a full-on modern, no ban, red competitive event. So it's pretty much like to test your teams or see what's out there in the meta before Worlds. So that's happening on Saturday, August 27th, which is the day of recording, almost a week and a half away. It's actually creeping up. I can't believe summer's almost done.
I know.
Crazy. So if you go over to their site, dmunited.eu, they have all the details there. I am thinking about participating. I may have a team already, and yeah, so we'll practice some of that. Me and Dice Masters. Me and Jocelyn over here. See, I'm tired too. I'm calling you Dice Masters now.
Well, sometimes I'm Dice Masters, sometimes I'm HeroClix, sometimes I'm an accountant. What do you know?
Yeah, and a wife.
Still don't get that one.
I don't know. Maybe
We're moving
everybody's
on.
wives to him. Anyways, yeah. So that take a look. So if you want, now this is gonna be very competitive, but if you do want some practice for Worlds, if you are going, we will actually also be practicing for this in the upcoming weekly Dice Arena. So this coming Tuesday, we'll be practicing for this event as well. So because it's happening that same week.
Awesome.
And that's probably that's it happening in the world of Dice Masters
until Worlds.
Yeah, until Worlds is happening mid-September. What is it? The 15th to the 18th?
That's right. September 15th to 18th in Memphis, Tennessee. You can head up to the guest house at Graceland or stay somewhere else if you want and just come to Graceland to the Graceland Convention Center, Conference Center to play in the event. So we're going to talk just a little bit about this because they just came out with all kinds of information over the last 2 weeks since Gen Con. And then we'll make sure we put the link to the website in the show notes so you can go and take a look at it. So first off, Dice Masters and HeroClix World Championships will be held, as we mentioned, in Memphis on those dates, September 15th to 18th. But they're also holding a ton of side events. So if you are like, well, I'm not a super competitive player, or I don't know how to play meta Dice Masters, or I've never played HeroClix, but I'm curious, you can come down to Memphis for these dates, and there's all kinds of things to do. So the 15th is a Thursday. Events are going to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then they're going to run till like 10 o'clock or something every night, and then until 2 p.m. on Sunday. So you'll have basically 4 full days, 3.5 days of full-on gaming availability. So let's primarily focus on the Dice Masters because we're a Dice Masters podcast. So there's going to be a number of events. So they're going to be holding U.S. Nationals, which is held and listed under the World Championship qualifier on the website. So at time of recording, we don't have this confirmed. I think it's a fairly safe to assume that it will be modern. They didn't actually lay this out, but it's $10 to enter. There's participation prizes. They're going to be prizing top 16 and up with various different types of prizing, and it will likely be a modern tournament. There's no limits. You don't have to qualify. You can just go in and play. You pay your $10 and you have your team which meets the requirements, which we expect will be modern. You will qualify and get to play. The World Champion, that's going to be held on the Friday. The World Championship will be held on the Saturday for Dice Masters. And again, we expect that to be modern. It's $10 to enter. You do not have to pre-qualify. There's no qualifying required. And they'll be prizing, again, top 16 and up, as well as participation prizing. So those are the two sort of super meta competitive events that will be held at Memphis. In addition to that, they will fire off drafts as soon as you have 4 people. That's basically how it works. You got 4 people who want to draft, they'll fire a draft off for you. Drafts will also be $10, and they will be held all weekend long. There's going to be a Pauper tournament, so only Modern Age Commons. Mm-hmm. There's going to be a Global Escalation tournament, so that will also be held. And they'll
which is a golden
people.
Event.
Yeah,
right?
Golden event. Yeah. So Global Escalation is a Golden Age team, but you can't use any of the cards on the ban list. And the ban list includes the top, I think it's the winning team and the second, like the semifinalist team, the second place team from Dice Masters US, Nationals, and Worlds for the last number of years. And there is a link on the website to the ban list, so you know what you can't build with. That is a Global Escalation is a super competitive format, and it's super broken. So, know that you're getting into where you're probably going to die on turn 3. So that would be my recommendation. So when we take a look at, sorry, I was looking for the event schedule. Here we go. So yeah, rainbow drafts are going to start Thursday at 2:00 as soon as they open it up. They're going to be holding the U.S. Nationals Championships, as I mentioned, on Friday morning. Drafts all day. Saturday, they'll be doing the World Championships starting on Saturday morning. Again, drafts all day. They're going to be holding Global Escalation in the afternoon on Saturday. And then the Pauper Dice Masters event will be held on Sunday morning, and they are limiting that to 32 players. It's the only Dice Masters event that has a limit for that.
Which one is that one again?
The Pauper event.
Oh, interesting.
So Modern Age Commons only. So that will, and again, drafts all day until 2:00 when they close everything off. They'll be selling HeroClix and HeroClix exclusives, as well as probably some Dice Masters. There's rumors that the Slingers OP kit may be available there for sale from Jimmy. So maybe some other stuff will be available there from sale. And if you're interested in learning HeroClix, they'll be running Learn to Play HeroClix event. They'll be running HeroClix Battle Royals. They'll be running the HeroClix World Championship, the HeroClix Team Sealed World Championship. They're running a couple of different types of formats for HeroClix. There's lots of things to do there as well. So, and having gone in 2019, I strongly encourage you, if you're able to, if it's something that's within your budget and your means, that I would encourage you to go. There's no ticket that you need to buy. You can just show up to the conference center and pay your $10 or pay your $15 or whatever it is for whatever event you want to play, and just play. So it's 4 days of gaming with all kinds of great people having a great time. Everyone there loving these games that we play. So encourage you to do that. If you have the opportunity to, I would also strongly encourage you to stay at Graceland. They have a hotel, the guest house at Graceland. They have a very attractive convention rate for the event. And the guest house it's across the road, but there's a couple of parking lots in between. So it's a bit of a a bit of a walk, but they have a shuttle as well that takes you over to the convention center. You can drive over and park if you have a car with you, but it's a lot easier than trying to stay somewhere else in Memphis and come in, because it is a little bit further out where Graceland is. And you can walk up to Graceland. You can go to Elvis's meditation garden. It's really pretty there. So.
And meditate.
And meditate, yeah. It's in September, so it'll be hot because it's Memphis.
Is it always hot there, or is there?
I mean, it gets cooler in the winter, but it's still always hot there. Like, it's pretty hot down in Tennessee. So I think it's one of those places like snow is like an anomaly.
Yeah, I think I remember everybody saying it was so hot when they were there.
Yeah, it was the beginning of September last time. This time it's like a couple of weeks later, so I'm hoping it'll be a smidgen cooler, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be full of lots of great people. And even, like I said, if you're not a competitive player in any way, shape, or form, or you're new to the game, still come out, because Dice Masters people are super friendly. Most HeroClix people are super friendly.
Except for one.
Yeah. But everyone's going to be there to have a good time and play games and hang out, and it's going to be great. So I would encourage you to come out to Memphis in September and play some Dice Masters and HeroClix.
Yeah,
and I think that's all we have for today.
Go play some HeroClix.
In our episode that we intended to be super short, but is actually longer than we thought, because I talk a lot.
Yes, Jocelyn did all the talking today. Thank you, Jocelyn.
You're welcome, Kim. You'll have to do some talking next time.
I believe I'm slated to talk a lot next episode.
You are. Yeah. So keeping in mind,
we're episode ahead. Can you believe that?
We're scheduled ahead. So this episode is going to be, you're listening to it if it came out. If you're listening to it when it came out, it's August 22nd. There'll be one more episode after that before Memphis, and then the following episode will come out the day after Memphis is completed. So take that information and do with it what you will. And I think that's all we have for today. Did I miss anything, Kim?
You did.
What?
Do you want to ask me about my homework?
Did you do your homework, Kim?
I may have.
Oh, I'm so excited. You waited until I babbled for like 45 minutes.
Yes, but I'll tell you something. There's 5 books in that comic book.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be honest. I only got up to 3.
So it's not completely done.
No, I still have 4 and 5 to go. But I can tell you how I'm feeling. I'm not going to spoil anything, but
all right.
Well, let's just in case everybody didn't know,
yeah.
I was homework to read Secret Wars 2099 is the name of the. I guess it's a comic book. It's a comic book. It's not a graphic novel.
Yep.
Yeah. Has 5 chapters. I don't know what they call them in it. So it's 1 to 5. I've read 1 through 3. And I haven't really decided yet if I like it.
Okay.
The story's not really grabbing my attention. Like, I'm not excited about it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but if I'm spoiling anything, I'll just go spoiler alert right now. But, well, the characters are characters that we know. They're Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Defenders are in this comic book. And they're very different people as what we know, like, say, Captain America is. Right? So, Captain America in this one is a woman.
Okay.
Okay. A very muscular woman in this comic book. Okay. Anyways, and then you have like Hulk's different looking, and Black Widow is very different. She's called Black Widow, but supposedly she's like has claws and stuff. So it's very different, right? The characters that we know, either played by still a male or could be a female, and quite a different atmosphere. Okay. I don't know much about the Defenders, like before this. I don't know much about like their stories or whom they were or what was part of them, but it's different. But I don't find the stories really grasping me. Now, again, I think Rob had mentioned maybe I should have pre-read some stuff before reading it. But I don't feel too like lost reading it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I don't feel like, what does that mean? Or what did that, like, you know what I mean? Like, am I missing something here? I may feel like I'm missing one thing. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but maybe when I'm done reading it, I'll let you know if I still missed that point or not.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna finish it. I'm reading through it. It's just that it's not like exciting for me. I don't know how to put it.
So Secret Wars 2099 is like a sort of spin-off almost of the Secret Wars story. And it's set in the
future, I guess.
Yeah, the 2099 universe, which is in the future, and it's a little bit different than sort of
what we would know.
The main comic book characters that maybe you would know if you're particularly not a comic reader.
Like, you know who the Avengers are, but they're the same Avengers, but it's very different people than what we know they are. Like, it's like almost like they're complete opposites, but they're still like, this is still Captain America, but it's a woman.
Okay.
And she's a bit different, right? It's like, this is Iron Man, but it's like a different person. You know what I mean? In the suit. And you have Vision, which is actually a woman. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like just either opposite or very different personality people. But same names: Iron Man, Silver Surfer, Hulk, Black Widow.
Well, I mean, you can only have
names,
so many superhero names, Kim. Like,
yeah. So yeah, I don't know if this is really. I don't know. The story doesn't really grasp me. It's very interesting.
So are you going to finish it?
I will finish it. I will finish it.
Okay.
I'm invested. I will finish it. There's only 2 more to go. And then next episode I should have it done and give a better. If I
I'm impressed, Kim. I'm impressed that you read it, because it's been a few episodes and you'd forgotten about it. So
yes, you reminded me, and then I forgot, and then I was like, let's see if she's gonna ask me today.
I forgot today, so yeah.
Right. So
there you go.
I didn't finish.
So
my homework is C, but
it's in progress.
I'll get it done.
It's in progress. So
maybe some people might give me some pointers before I finish it or something, maybe. So
maybe
if I need to read anything.
Okay.
But
well, Kim, I'm impressed. Maybe when you're done with it, I can borrow it and I can read it too.
Yes, and then you can tell me if you felt the same way or not.
I can do that. I have the power. I have the power to share my opinion. All right, so I think that's all we have for today then.
That
for real
is
this time. Okay. So thanks for listening to us Babylon, and mostly me, and share my thoughts about Gen Con and your feedback about Gen Con and what you heard us share and all that sort of stuff. So we would love to hear from you. We really love audience feedback. We love it when you guys reach out and share your thoughts and ideas and suggestions with us. It really makes our day. So if you would like to do that, there's a bunch of different places you can do that for. You can, first off, you can send us an old-fashioned email at trippledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can head over to our website, dm-north.com, and leave a comment on our episode post. Of course, as you've heard us mention many a time, you can go over to youtube.com/dmNorthTV and leave a comment on the YouTube there. You can find Kim and I on Discord. You can add us. Kim is at SuperK, and I am at JoceStitch, J-O-C-E Stitch. You can join our Discord, dmNorthTV. You can also find the other Discords online. We talked about the Dice Station Zebra Discord today, as well as there's the Dice Masters Online Discord, which is the main Dice Masters Discord. So all of those are available to you. You can find us on all the socials, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at dmNorthTV. And you can find us doing live games of various things, board games, Dice Masters, board game expansions, and other things on twitch.tv/dmNorthTV. So until next time, on a double and dice.